And good evening, everyone here in Australia and everywhere where else you might be watching from. Your hosts tonight on Spirit Talk Australia Radio are the magnificent Anne
Who's
Rekovich
doing an Afghan dog impression with my hair today?
and myself, Renata Daniel, who's just looking normal.
You always look glorious. You have the best crone hair I have ever seen.
Oh, thank you.
And there's not many people that could take that as a
Thank you.
compliment.
No, I'm actually not either, but never mind. And tonight we have a very, 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 very special Australian guest with us tonight, the beautiful Serene Conneeley. And let me just read for you all the things this woman
And
has
we
done
need a
up
list.
till now.
We need a list.
I have to read it. I can't just say it. So, Serene Conneeley is an Australian writer with a fascination for history, travel, ritual, and the myth and magic of ancient places and cultures. She sounds like one of us. She's written for magazines about news, travel, health, spirituality, entertainment, and social and environmental issues, was the editor of several preschool magazines, and has contributed to books on witchcraft, history, psychic development, and personal transformation. She sounds like someone we can do a workshop with.
Yeah, yeah. I think we need some personal transformation happening.
Speak for yourself. Serene is the author of the Into the Mists trilogy, Into the Mists, Into the Dark, and Into the Light, and Into the Storm trilogy, Into the Storm, Into the Fire, and Into the Air. The original Australian fairy tale, The Swan Maiden. Just saying. Yeah. And where am I up to? Witchy magic, mermaid magic, fairy magic, seven sacred sites, and a magical journey, which I love. This is fabulous. I love this. And
I recognise that picture.
yeah, and a meditation CD, Sacred Journey. Serene has studied magical and medicinal herbalism, bereavement counselling, reconnective healing, Reiki, and many other healing modalities, plus politics and journalism, and is a member of the Australian Fairy Tale Society. Are you right there?
No, somebody just said they love my t-shirt, so I'm
Okay.
just showing off a Hocus Pocus t-shirt.
She loves reading books, drinking tea, working out. Oh, well, she's gone.
No, that's
No,
it.
that's it. Visiting the swans in her backyard park and celebrating the energy of the moon and the magic of the earth. Her pagan heart blossomed as she climbed mountains, sat in stone circles, crawled into ancient burial mounds, and stood in the shadow of the pyramids on her travels. And she's also, perhaps more importantly, learned the magic of finding true happiness and peace at home.
So we welcome.
Hello,
Hello, Serene. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you. Hello.
Now you're sounding a little bit shy. Don't be shy with us. we're very noisy. I have to ask. Now you said you've crawled into some ancient tombs and things. So what was that you crawled into? That just grabbed me just very briefly.
My husband and I have been going to England, Scotland, Wales for a while, whenever we can. Although not this year, obviously.
No,
No.
we were going to go,
Oh,
but we're not.
yeah, a bit soon. Yeah, but we go to a lot of ancient places, stone circles and barrow mounds and all kinds of things. So we've climbed into quite a few together, but there's been a few that he said he'd wait outside and just take a photo of me going in. So yeah.
Did you go to Loughcrew
Yes,
in Ireland?
yes, years and years ago.
Isn't it just amazing that something so ancient is sitting there for anyone to climb into and sit and be with that prehistoric artwork and lay your hands on it? Apparently, because I tried to take her last year, but they've had a little bit of a cave in there, and they weren't able to let people inside anymore. But I did try to get her there the year before, but it rained. She doesn't go out in the rain.
No, I melt. Yeah. Oh, you got to watch those ancient stone
Ancient Renatas.
ancient stone things you crawl into. They weren't made for modern day
I don't
big
know.
fat backsides like I have. So
Hey, I've got mine in there. It's okay.
they were made for very delicate little souls. So yeah,
Yes, extreme. I like that. Eric just said extremely informal.
yeah, yeah. So yes,
Yeah, I do have a few unflattering photos coming out and going in.
yes, always, always, especially when your husband's involved. Yes,
Actually, I've got a good one of you climbing into a hole in a Shepton Mallet prison.
yes, that's right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's our other bit. So is your husband as fascinated with all of this as you are?
He's interested in it, but he's always just happy to go wherever I want to go, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think my husband's quite pleased that I found her and she found me, and that we can annoy each other rather than dragging them off everywhere. If it's a Scotch tasting weekend, it's a different story. But
Yeah, so we have to find places where they can drink alcohol, and we can go do the spiritual side of things.
this was also spiritual.
Right.
Yes, yes. So where has your favourite place been ever that you have been to?
This probably won't surprise you, but it's Glastonbury.
Oh,
I went there first in 97.
fancy that.
And been going. Yeah, and we went on our honeymoon as well. So that was the first time I took my husband, and he was surprised, but he totally fell in love with it. So we always try to go back there whenever we can.
Yeah, I've got a special place in Glastonbury, and I remember the first time I saw the tour from I don't know how many kilometres away it was, and I screamed. It wasn't with Anne; it was my other friend Gail. We were in the car, and I literally screamed for about a minute. And she went, "Will you just stop, please?"
Yeah,
Just-
luckily I got there the second time with her, and the second time she cried.
Yeah, it's an amazing place, and of course for bookworms, it is a glorious place because every bookshop is just filled with the most amazing books that you can purchase for your own spiritual journey, and so it is just a wonderful place. So, did any of the places, of course, they would have inspire your writings?
Yes, the first book I did was non-fiction, and that was the travel one, Seven Sacred Sites.
Yes.
So that was places I've been, the ones that kind of changed me the most. Yeah, so that was sort of my experiences there, but a lot of the history of other people's journeys there, how people have done magical ritual there in the past and also today, how to connect with those energies from home as well if you can't travel, which sadly none of us can at the moment. So yeah, that was all kind of based on my experiences, but with a lot of history and research as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then I interviewed other people too, Lucy Cavendish, Shirley MacLaine, about the places they'd been to.
And how did you start on your magical journey or magical path? How did you get to that?
I was born in Sydney, but we grew up in Margaret River in Western Australia because my parents were hippies and didn't want us growing up in the city. So we lived on a little bush flat block. So yeah, I grew up kind of in the forest and wandering around there. And Mum was into a lot of, read a lot of Louise Hay books and Wayne Dyer. So I read those, and I learnt Reiki with her. So we would do that when I was at high school and do healings on friends and stuff. So I guess that's what kind of got me interested. And Dad's always surfed his whole life, so he's a bit of a pagan at heart too, knowing about the moon and the sun and seasons and stuff. So,
Oh, you had no choice.
I think there's always choice.
Yeah, there is. I know there is.
But at least
Yeah.
you had a family that embraced. I
Yeah.
mean, I've only come to this in the last couple of years. I came from a very strict Catholic family, and my mother would be rolling over in a grave at the thought of what I'm doing. But I've never been happier. Never been happier. Self accountability. There's nothing like it.
No, absolutely true. Yeah. Yeah. So when did you actually start your writing processes? Because your bio says that you wrote for, school preschool magazines, and you wrote for some magazines. When was the first book written? Was it after you started your journeys around the world?
Yes, afterwards. I did politics and journalism at uni, so I was a journalist for quite a long time. And it kind of grew out of there. I was doing, worked for New Idea for a while, but interviewing people like Doreen Virtue, Stephen
Oh,
Furlong. So every week I did a spiritual column. So that, I guess, I did a lot of courses as well with the people that I was interviewing, and started working with publishers on that level. And then when I left the magazine, one of them asked if I wanted to write a book. So that was how it started.
so with all of these lovely people that you were interviewing, I've got a really interesting question. Were they who you expected them to be, or were they very different people?
Ah. That's a tough one.
You don't have
They're
to
more,
mention names, you can just say he or she.
Or, or even did some of them surprise you because you were expecting them to be one way and they weren't?
no, they were all actually really lovely and quite down to earth. Um, yeah, got on
Hmm.
really well. Um, and even, I mean, it was a whole bunch of different modalities and beliefs and stuff, but they're all fascinating and respectful. And yeah, it was interesting time.
Yeah, that's something that we've found. We've had a few interviews since we started here, where we were interviewing people who were really big names in the whole game, and we were quite frightened by the whole thing. But
Just the
they
whole us.
but they ended up being just normal, fantastic, everyday people. Yeah, with great stories to tell. Yeah, so
Right.
that was
Yeah.
amazing. By the way, if anyone has a question for Serene while we have her on, post it so that we can ask her anything about her books, anything about what might be coming up. Please write it in the comments there, and we will ask her as we have her on.
So, who do you think was your biggest influence in your magical journey as you were growing up?
Um, I was talking to someone about this the other day, actually. It was Fiona Horn who first said to me, "You're a witch, you know," when I was doing it. I wasn't offended. And it just kind of was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, read her books, read Lucy's. Um, a lot of, I don't know, I guess Juliet Marilia, who writes fiction, but it's all based on kind of Celtic, Druidic
Mm.
paths and the other world and stuff. So she's my favourite author, and I guess that's probably had an influence too.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So you've got a whole range of books. Tell us about some of them, and tell us the stories. You were holding up two before, so tell us about the two that you have in front of you.
Plug, plug.
Yes.
Okay,
That's what I'm regretting.
one at a
No.
time.
So Into the Mists. Tell us about that one. Tell us about that one.
Okay. After I did Sacred Sites and that journal that you have, I did 3 books with Lucy Cavendish, which was Witchy Magic, Mermaid Magic, and Fairy Magic. And throughout Witchy Magic, I guess we did a lot of research and we're writing a lot of the rituals that we've done in the past. And I thought, I wonder if I can write a novel once we finish that. So I did, it's called NaNoWriMo, where you write 50,000 words in 30 days. And I thought, well, I'll see if I can do it. If I can't, it doesn't matter. It's only 30 days. So that was that book. And it kind of came out of Witchy Magic, and also it's set in Glastonbury. So
Yeah,
You
it
can't go wrong.
it's always
we've
nice
written
to go
that.
back to that too. That's right. Yeah.
I think if you go outside to take the garbage out, it's far more fascinating if you're doing it in Glastonbury.
Yeah.
I woke up and it was Glastonbury, and I decided to take the garbage out. Oh, it's amazing.
I had something I was going to say and it's gone.
And your other book, the other book.
Um,
So Into the Mists, and you had the other one.
yeah. So that was just going to be one little small standalone book, but it's turned into 2 trilogies. This
Two
is one from the
trilogies.
second trilogy. Yeah. And yeah, the second trilogy was even bigger and longer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
yeah, that was 6 years, I guess.
So the first one was
My life.
Into the Dark, was it?
Into the Mist.
Into the Mist, and then Into the Fire, and then into the Light is the last one.
The
You got
first
it all
trilogy
wrong.
is Mist, Dark and Light. And then
That's
the
right,
second
Mist, Dark and Light.
Yeah, you did. Sorry.
I did
and
some
then
research.
Storm, Fire and Air.
Yeah.
Nigel has a question. How
Handy.
do you get the initial ideas for your stories, and then how do you develop them into full novels?
Thank you, Nigel. Nigel's my friend.
Oh,
Thanks, Nigel.
thanks, Nigel.
The first one, I just had the idea of a girl from Sydney whose parents died, and she was sent to England to live with a grandmother she didn't know she had. So that was kind of how her journey started. And she was quite cynical when she got there, and obviously grieving, and thought her grandmother must be a horrible person because she didn't know about her. But it turned out that her grandmother was a priestess of Avalon, and over quite a long time they became friends, and she started doing rituals with her as well. And so it's kind of a healing journey for the first book.
That reminded me of what I was going to ask. Now, Dion Fortune, I remember we were in Glastonbury. I'm sure we were in Glastonbury, and you found one of her books.
Mm-hmm.
And you were absolutely beside yourself because this book, you were saying, was a story, but in actual fact, it was a teaching tool. She had hidden the teachings within. Have I got the wrong one?
Yes, you have. That would have been Doreen Valiente, I think.
Right.
The one that actually lived in Glastonbury.
So, in your books, even though you're saying they're fictional stories, are they actually a little bit of a teaching guide to teach people as well?
Yeah, they are. I've had a few people say that there's more truth in my fiction than in my non-fiction in some ways. So it does detail the rituals, and I mean, there's fictionalized parts. She meets women from the mists who aren't really there, and so that's a different kind of a journey and a learning. But yeah, a few people have said that they started practicing again after they read them because they were re-inspired.
Oh,
So
wow, that's just wonderful.
That would be one of the best compliments you could possibly receive.
Absolutely. Mm.
And now Nigel's also asking, where do your characters come from? He's so full of such good questions.
You'd think he prepared this.
You'd think he knew.
That's just crazy. Wow.
We love you, Nigel.
Mm.
I don't know. I mean, I guess there's a little bit of me in all of them. Not any one specific person, but some friends, I guess, and then others I just make up. I guess Rose, the grandmother, is someone I would love to know. Mm. Some people have actually said that's their favourite character.
I have to ask, is Nigel one of the characters?
No, he's not.
Nigel? You've
got to work harder than
do something about that.
Jeez.
After all the hard work he's doing here, he deserves a mention in the book, I feel.
I don't know.
She'll dedicate the next book to him.
Yeah, he said, I haven't prepared promise.
Yeah. Now, you very graciously sent me a copy of the Swan Maiden to read, which I found quite intriguing and interesting. And it's called An Australian Fairy Tale, Faery. Let us know how you came to write this one. What was sort of the backstory that led you to go and venture into fairy tales with the Australian twist? And certainly there's all of this sort of shape-shifting and transformation that goes in with this book. So I'm really interested to hear what was behind it.
I guess the inspiration was we've got a big park right across the road from us, which is kind of how we stay sane in the middle of the city. And there's a black swan pair there who have babies every year. So
Oh,
I've been watching them grow up, and this year they've actually had 2 clutches. So that kind of gave me the idea, I guess. And I joined the Australian Fairy Tale Society originally because Cheryl and Darcy was doing a workshop about plants and flowers and stuff. And in the end, she was sick and couldn't do it, but I went along anyway and loved it, and have been in it for a few years. And we discuss fairy tales, but try to put an Australian slant on it, or see how it would work in this country. And it was kind of strange that there's so few Australian ones. So I guess I figured I should try and do that. Especially
Wow,
since
so
the others
you're
are
starting a new trend, actually, Australian fairy tales.
so just so
there's a
people
few older ones.
understand, yeah, the concept of what a fairy tale is. What would be a traditional fairy tale that people would be familiar with the storyline?
Things like Cinderella and Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, all those kinds of ones.
And
But
they
the
all have
fascinating
bits of
thing,
magic in it.
they do. And they're also a lot older than people realise. So Cinderella goes back to China originally, thousands of years ago. And the stories are retold in different countries, different times, from the people and reflecting the society of the time. So yeah, I guess it's
I had
quite
no idea.
popular now to be retelling them. Yeah, putting a new slant on them.
What is your favourite fairy tale?
I do love Vasilisa the Wise, but I'm going to retell that one time with a different slant, because in that one Baba Yaga is the witch, the evil one, and she's the innocent girl. So I think she needs to be reclaimed because she's a wise
I like
woman in
that.
the forest.
Now, Baba Yaga is Polish, isn't she?
Slavic, so
Slavic,
Polish, Russian,
Yeah.
Ukrainian, they all kind of have, Slovenian, Croatian, they all have a sort of a Baba Yaga tale. Yeah. And they've gone a little bit loopy with her with the whole chicken leg thing and everything. So I don't think it was really meant to be anything like that when the story started. No. I want to read the back of this so that people can understand what this is all about. So this is a Swan Maiden, and it says, once upon a time, which I love, a young girl cried all her sadness into the lake of her local city park, and a lonely black swan drank a tear and was transformed. For Signet, being human is much harder than she imagined. There are machines that are trying to kill her, people who want to replace her, and dizzying new emotions she'd rather not feel. When she finds herself torn between two wildly different worlds, she must discover how much she's willing to sacrifice, where she really belongs, and who she truly is. Wow.
I think you need to read the next bit.
Okay. Enter a world where birds shapeshift into wizards, women emerge from seal skins, swans transform into maidens, and love is the most powerful enchantment of all.
See, that bit was important.
It was. Interesting. Now, I'm intrigued by the artworks that are here as part of your book covers. Do you have the same person doing all of these artworks? The covers
yes,
for your
cover
books?
Artwork, for the 6 Into the Mists and Into the Storm books, they're all by Selena Fennick, who's a Central Coast artist. Who's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Oh, just down the road.
Yeah.
She's also an incredible writer. She's written a fantasy series and a new paranormal one. She's amazing.
Oh, we must have her on then.
Yes, absolutely.
So before you go, you'll give us her name. Can you show those covers again, just for some of those books?
And Jo from Avalon is saying that she does have the Swan Maiden in store. So she's based out of Newcastle. You can get her things online, but you can also buy it from the blessedbebooks.com, which is scrolling across the bottom there. Look at that. That's just beautiful.
Yeah, that's just gorgeous. All of these beautiful women and these beautiful, gorgeous maidens on these covers. You're going to have to write something that is male orientated with a male wizard or something.
Possibly, yeah.
Do you think you'd ever go there?
There's an an ibis who turns into a wizard in the Swan Maiden. But yeah, I don't know. I do have a couple of nice male characters. There's been a few not so nice ones in the Mists book, so I would like to one day do a good character who's a guy.
Yeah, stick him in Glastonbury and get him to take the garbage out. That'll win every woman's heart. They won't care whatever else he does as long as he just takes the garbage out. It'll be fine. Oh dear.
Joe was saying hello to you on there, and people are now heading over to their website. Oh yes, gorgeous covers, gorgeous artwork. A wizard called Nigel. He's found his entry point.
There you go.
And he's going to be taking the garbage out at Glastonbury.
Oh dear.
We'll just have a little thanks to Anne and Renata in the book when he gets a mention.
Yeah. Now, I know authors always have at least 3 or 4 or 5 books going at once. We have a wonderful friend called Amanda who I think at one
She's
time
on here.
she had like 6 or 7 books going at once, and I'm going,
Oh no, did the other Amanda.
Yeah.
We've got this Amanda who is also an author as well.
Yes.
Amanda Wright is on.
yeah. And you go, how the hell do you manage that? How can you keep working all of these different people and keeping them separate in your
The
mind?
true crimes and things like
Yeah.
that.
So how many books have you got going at the moment?
I have a few half written, but I can't do it like that. It amazes me the people who can be writing different things at the same time.
Yeah.
I can't keep it in my head. And I guess once I start writing, I get so into it that I don't want to stop. So yeah.
So it's like it's almost channeled.
I don't know. It's definitely me sitting
You're
there doing
supposed
all the
to
work.
you're supposed to nod and say yes.
She's taking ownership for her words. It's not coming from someone else. It's her
All
words.
right, okay.
I get this. I understand.
Okay.
We always
all
pass everything over to the spirit world and give them credit. I think sometimes it's us.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm still cackling at this wizard called Nigel.
I think that's a brilliant name for a wizard.
I think we've just inspired a whole book.
Absolutely. Oh dear, I was going to ask something too, and now I have forgotten. Have you got a
Now,
question?
we have a lot of people who will be watching, who will be seekers, fairly new to the path or considering the path. If you were going to give them some advice on how to start off or what to look forward to read, or what would your advice be for them?
I think reading is a really good way to start, whether it's in fiction or non-fiction, and just making sure that you trust yourself, and if something doesn't resonate with you, it's okay, and you can put that aside and read something else, try a different way, meet somebody else to learn from, because there's so many different ways, different energies, and I think you really need to find someone that you're comfortable with.
And that
There's
goes
been
with for
times when-
covens as well, because I think some people think
Absolutely,
they have to join a coven and put on the robe and do all of that, and it's not necessary.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was in one, and it was wonderful for a lot of the time, but yeah, I'm solitary now.
Yeah, you've got to find your people. And I mean, sometimes with groups and things, you find that you're in the perfect place for a while, and then you grow and you need to move forward, whereas sometimes they're quite happy staying at the level they're at. So you either have the choice of staying with them and not progressing, or stepping out and going, I'm going to walk my own path for a bit, see what happens.
Yeah. Or you could both grow, but grow in different directions. And find you.
And it doesn't mean that you've hated your experience with that group. It just means that you're going in a different direction.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. How do collaborations work? Like when you do your books with, say, Lucy Cavendish, do you sort of have the same idea that you're both working on simultaneously and then thread it through the stories, or how does that work?
We've been friends for a while beforehand, and we did a few Mind Body Spirit festivals together when Sacred Sites came out. And we were in Melbourne for one of them, and she said, we should really write a book together. Let's write a book about fairies. I was like, I wouldn't know what to write. But we did, and we just had a couple of meetings and figured out what kind of chapters we'd want to include and wrote it. And it ended up, I think at the end I counted it, and we'd written exactly half each. So it was
Oh, wow.
It's a really nice combination of two quite different views and different experiences. And
once again, is this Australian-based information?
Yes. Yep.
And
we talk a little bit about. Sorry.
Yeah, go on. You talk a little bit about
fairies from around the world and different beliefs and cultures and stuff. But yeah, all the nature magic and stuff is based on our seasons and our trees and that kind of stuff.
And like in Ireland and England, there is sites that are famous for where the fairies dwell. Is there anywhere in Australia? Are you going to tell us?
I would,
because I can get in the car and drive tomorrow.
I'd say it's everywhere. I mean, to me, it's the personification of nature, and we can connect with that wherever we are.
We actually, yesterday, we were driving through a little country town, and there was a ring of daisies or something like that, but they were purple in colour. And we went, oh my God, that is a fairy ring. It's a fairy ring of daisies. So we got out and we danced in the fairy ring. Because I'm crazy like that.
That's awesome.
And she said she couldn't see me. I disappeared.
I was lying. Don't tell her. Don't burst a bubble. Right?
There may be a video of it.
Oh, look, I think it's, when you have a passion for something, and you certainly do. I mean, do you do a normal job as well, or are you just focused in on writing? Like a muggle job?
I did have a job. Yeah, I'd been a journalist until 3 years ago. I was made redundant. So since then, I've been writing as much as I can and eking out my savings as long as I can.
Yeah. But, I know.
Yeah, so at the moment it's just trying to market myself, that kind of stuff.
And I have to ask, do you have a set of oracle cards or some sort of cards in the future? Because combining your information with that artist, you could produce something just amazing.
We do, actually.
We
haven't really said anything about it, but
every now and then I'll just go poof when I get something.
Whoopsie. Okay, well, just don't worry about it. Never heard anything. Didn't hear a thing.
The people watching, who would buy some? You watch it go off. Yes, hang on, we've got...
as long as there's a wizard called Nigel in there, so you're going to have to do you're going to have to do a card for him now. Oh, my goodness.
I'm just going through the comments we've got here.
People saying, Jodie's saying, I see a rather large book purchase in my future. Yes. And even though this is one of your first books, this is a great one, The Magical Journey. It is really, really good, because there's enough space there for people to write their own journaling notes in it, and then also days of the month and feasts and different bits of information.
She's hogged this, mind you. I haven't laid eyes on it.
I'm sorry. So let's just hold on. Let's see what's happening today.
And we've got a question there. What age would be appropriate for your books? I've got 2 girls, 10 and 11, that would love something Australian-based.
The Swan Maiden would be absolutely fine for that age.
Nice.
And I've had, I think the youngest was 10 who read Into the Mists, and they were okay with it, but the parents die, so there's grief and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You maybe want to consider that.
So it's adult concepts in there.
Yeah, so I guess why age? It's hard to pinpoint.
Oh, look, in Australia we avoid talking about death. It's like a taboo subject, and it really shouldn't be.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because there are also a lot of rituals that allow people to have that feeling
Closure.
of closure that other countries perform and do or did. I guess it's changed in
Just got to run out and grab something.
in all modern places, but that also allow people to have that finalisation, as Anne said, and we sort of tend not to do that anymore. We farm our dead out to someone else that can look after it, and we sort of come at the end when it's all nice and clean and done. And there is a process to all of this, and I think when we don't take part in that process, sometimes we forget just how valuable actually living is. It's just it's weird. It's really weird. Yeah. Did you miss Mind, Body, Spirit this year? Was there anything virtual that that attendants could do? I know they could attend like the virtual psychic sessions, but was there anything that people who would normally have had stalls and things could have done with the Mind, Body, Spirit shows?
Not really. The Sydney one this year was March 13, so it was going on that Friday when Scott Morrison said, "It's really terrible. We can't have big gatherings. We'll start on Monday." So
yeah, we were
I felt
there.
the organisers because they had to decide. Yeah.
Yeah, we were there, and then
Tamara.
with Lady Tamara, and everyone had to just pack up and silently scoot off. It was a hard one too, because it wasn't the numbers that were normal. You could already tell that the numbers were falling at that point, which was But that's probably where you would see most people with your book sales, and they would get to know you, and you'd be signing autographs and everything there. So
I also usually do Supernova and ComicCon, so those will have been cancelled as well.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people's livelihood is suffering because of this. So what would you have been doing this year if COVID was not around?
I would have been doing events, and we would probably be in England right now.
It's all right, we would have been in New Orleans.
Don't talk about it. Yeah.
But it's okay, instead we're talking to you, so it's all fantastic.
We could have been talking to her from New Orleans. Just saying, but never mind.
We could have been sitting at Bloody Mary's seance table.
Just stop it right now. Have you got anything on your wish list to do? Is there anything big that you would like to see yourself doing, even if it is to get more information about a book idea that you have in your head, a place where you want to go that you haven't been yet, for example, or something else that you haven't experienced that you would like to be a part of a book or just as an experience?
I would like to return to Ireland sometime. I haven't been there for, I think it was 2000. So,
oh wow!
Yeah, it'd be lovely to go back there one day. But yeah, we pretty much love England, Scotland, and Wales. So.
Yes, we've just booked a trip to Wales for July. For July next year. So we're hoping, sending the positive thoughts out to the universe that it will happen as England goes into its second wave.
Yeah, it's pretty awful.
Yeah.
What are your feelings about all of this? Tapping into the sort of the spiritual side of things and talking to all of the beautiful people that you know. What's kind of the general consensus of where all of this is going?
I guess, it's horrible, but I guess if you're trying to look for good sides, there has been people coming together in different ways. finding new ways to communicate with each other. And the fairy tale conference this year had to be cancelled, so we did it online, which meant people from all over the world could come. So being able to connect on a different level, I guess, which is a nice thing. But yeah, it's just awful.
I've never even heard of the fairy tale conference. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's the conference of the Australian Fairy Tale Society.
Wow. And being online, I could have gone. We noticed Hexfest was cancelled, but they was doing some online things, but it was still too expensive for me. It was quite a few hundreds of American dollars, and I'm not saying that it's not worth it. It's just when everything's shutting down and you've lost a lot of your work, it's very hard to spend that sort of money. You probably understand. So they were saying there about Mexico celebrating Hallows Eve in the cemetery with their ancestors and having a big party with food and celebration and drink. That's how it should be, a celebration of life.
Yep, absolutely.
And there's many nationalities and cultures that still do that. I know the Macedonians go into the cemeteries and celebrate the life of their loved ones with feasts and things. Here's Wizard Nigel. Said Serene, new ways of connecting have been so valuable, including Facebook Live events like this.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
We've made a new friend for life in Nigel.
We'll have him on. He better be talented in something. That's all I can say.
So tell us about Nigel. What does Nigel do?
Nigel's also a writer.
Oh, well, there you go.
Nigel, do you want to come on the show?
Oh, and then you can spam him. Oh, dear.
Look, I have to say, I agree with what you're saying. Opportunities that have come our way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we are here in Australia, because we had 3 international trips this year. We were speaking at 2 international conferences for paranormal in America. And we were speaking at, we were going to Ireland for a trip. And because it was all cancelled, we were here and available for other things, which have now led to even bigger and better things, which is going to hopefully change our lives. So I am grateful, not necessarily to COVID for the illness, but for the transformation.
That is good. It's occurring for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully everyone will take that on board and
it's almost like a cocoon period, isn't it? We're all being forced to cocoon, and we how we feed ourselves while we're in our cocoon is how we are going to come out the other side. Write a book with that.
Perhaps you need to write that one.
Nah, I failed English at school. I'm a musician. I'll write a song about it. How's that? Jo's saying that she sells Australian books as well.
Yeah.
And she does have some of your books, which is really good. Where's Jo's little shop, which you have to make an appointment to go to? Avalon by Nature?
Yes, in the cubby hole. Avalon. Jo, can you just write down, please? So just send a link to where you are so that people can purchase your books from online if they can't come and see you.
And Grant is one of our Pooh Bar supporters. Not Pooh Bars, Parastalker supporters, and he was going to Minnesota as well.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah.
Yeah.
Look for the good that's coming out of everything, people, because it's there. We just have to find it.
And the great thing about this is that we can support our own Australian writers and creators. And this is part of one of the things that we wanted to do, and our patroness, Lady Tamara, loved to see our ability to talk to people just like herself, who contribute so much to the spiritual side of things, and promote you and let people know that you are doing these wonderful things. You need to hit out to some of the libraries too, because they have a lot of virtual talks that are happening at the moment, and love authors to come on and talk about
Susan.
and talk about their books. We have a lovely lady that we know who runs the library at Cessnock, so we'll have a chat to her about you. You might be able to do a bit of a read, which is always fascinating. Yeah. Do you do any sort of a ritual, or do you have a process when you sit down to write, or is it like, do you sort of sit and go, oh, I have an hour every day, I'm going to sit down and do this, or is it when the idea strikes, or do you have a ritual that you perform? How's the process happen for you?
I'm I'm not quite as disciplined as I would like to be, but I do pretty much just make myself sit down and write. When I was working in the city and magazine and stuff, I'd be writing in my lunch break or on the bus, or just trying to make every minute count to get the words down. Yeah, now that I have more time, it's weirdly not like I've written a lot more. It takes longer to actually do it because there's not that time pressure. But, yeah, I just make myself do it.
Yeah, I can't
Half
do
the
that
time I
sometimes.
write with pen and paper because it seems to, I don't know, access a different part of the brain, or it comes out in a different way.
True, because when
I relate to that.
Otherwise I'm
yeah,
on my
we
laptop
talk about
but
journaling a lot for
Yeah.
people, and that there is
try
a
to be
need to
disciplined.
to write things down, and to visually see them on a piece of paper. It's like literally also getting it out of your head. Maybe the younger generation is used to writing things, on iPads and laptops and things. But I think there, like you said, there is great value in actually writing things down with the old pen and paper. Yeah, absolutely.
I had a list of questions, so I'm just making sure I've covered all my questions. Oh, tell me, what's a witchy movie that you've really enjoyed? Yeah, you got to think about that, don't you? Is there
I do love
any
Harry
out
Potter
there?
still.
Oh, so do I. Can't go wrong with Harry Potter.
Oh, you've got to love practical magic, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. And we rewatch Charmed every now and then.
I like Charmed.
And even
I used to
Nicole
love
Kidman's
watching
Bewitched,
Charmed.
actually.
The what, sorry? What was that last one?
Bewitched. The Nicole Kidman movie Bewitched is lots of fun too.
Oh, hang on. We've got something here. Para-Unity Conference in Duluth. Oh, that's what he was going to.
Yeah.
Having a virtual one instead.
So, does anyone have any final questions for the beautiful Serene?
I'm just going to pop
So
these books back up again so that they can
absolutely.
see what they are.
So you've got
And we'll go into there.
Sacred Journey and a Magical Journey. And like I said, I have a copy of Magical Journey. It's a really great diary.
And don't forget the Into the Mist trilogy.
Yes.
Into the Mist, Into the Dark, and Into the Light.
The 7 sacred sites, which if you are really interested in going on a pilgrimage, I absolutely recommend, because there's loads of information about those sites there. And you must include Glastonbury. If you're going to go anywhere around England, Ireland, Scotland or Wales, then please, add Glastonbury to your list of places to visit. And then we have mermaid magic, witchy magic and fairy magic, and then Into the Light. Yeah.
Sorry, what was that? Sorry, did you say something? We've lost her? Can you hear us? Hello?
Have we got
if
you?
anybody wanted to order 7 sacred sites, I'll include a magical journey free from the website.
Oh, there you go. You heard it here. So if you order 7 sacred sites, Serene will include a magical journey. Excellent. And they can order that directly through Blessed Be Books. Would that be the best place to do that order? Fantastic.
Oh, we've got some funny ones coming up here. The Worst Witch School and Hocus Pocus and the original Carrie.
Yes, looking forward to see what you create. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jodie sold. That's it. You're going to get orders from them. So you'll probably need to put like hashtag Parastalker or something like that, so she knows that it's you guys that have ordered for that special offer.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, look, thank you so very, very much for coming on and taking time out of your week and writing, because it does take, it takes a lot of time and energy to do it. And, you know, when you get focused, you sort of don't want to get waylaid and do other things. I know you were a little bit just scared.
Terrified.
But yeah, you know, nothing to be scared about here. It's all good.
Thank you for being patient with me.
Oh, not a problem. Thank you for being patient with us and putting up with us.
And Leslie,
And a big thank you to Nigel.
Yeah, thank you, Nigel. We'll get in touch with you, mate. Don't you worry. You're not getting off scot-free, I tell you what. And Leslie says Sacred Magic is an amazing book. So, yes, absolutely. People will have a lot. Oh, hello, Leslie. Hi, gorgeous. We saw you on the weekend. So yes,
We've adopted Leslie.
Yeah, we've adopted her. we've got a number of adopted children all around. So no, thank you so very, very much for your time. We will just say goodbye to you for the moment. Say goodbye to our listeners, but we will get back to you in a moment.
So thank you,
Serene. So stay on.
Yeah. All right. The rest of yous. You going to say good evening? And I'd just like to say that on our Thursday night free tarot readings the other night, or not the other night, last week, or the week before, we asked people to send in a card to Renata if they'd like to.
And I got one.
Somebody sent you one. And it's Margaret Jackson. So there you go.
Oh, thank you, Margaret. I'm going to save this for the Thursday night, and I'm going to open it up. I'm going to start a trend of actually writing letters and sending cards, because I know that some of you are old enough to remember that used to happen a long, long time ago in a universe far, far away.
She remembers papyrus. Wrong show. I know. I've got to behave. I'll be getting in trouble off Mama T. Anyway, thank you everyone. Good night, and we won't see you tomorrow night because we're going to be away on a special mission in Sydney. We will try to cut away for a quick live if we possibly can, but hopefully we'll see you all on the dark side. In the meantime,
Bye.
Bye.